Oh, we're live.
There we go.
Yay. Okay.
We just had a moment here where we're stressing out a little bit. We tried to go live and then it just kind of froze with the never-ending spinning donut. But we're here.
Yay! We're excited. You're excited, or you should be, because today's all about answering questions.
Wait, why can't I see who's here?
I don't know, but it says the two people are.
Okay.
Hello, you two.
Hello.
Whoever you are.
Let us know so that we can see that you're here.
Exactly. So like I was saying, today's all about answering questions, and we've asked for questions in our Facebook group and in different forums and all over the place in our email accounts. So we've gotten tons, like loads of questions. Oh. Shira has sent us some questions too.
Yeah, thanks for all of your questions. Like the community has rallied behind this idea of actually doing something a little bit different, a little bit more personal, kind of more interaction. So we're gonna dive in. What do you think? What do you think about the questions? Was there a theme, a red thread?
Well, I think there's a lot of organizational questions since we're also all about organizing. And hello, Connecticut.
Hey, Leonardo.
Hello from Denmark. So organizing questions, of course, but there are also quite a few funny ones.
Yeah, so it was a good mixed bag. Mixed bag.
Yeah.
So what we're thinking is to go through this and just kind of like start with some organizational questions, but then kind of vary it so we go back and forth a little bit. Keep it serious and then fun in between, or keep it fun and with some seriousness.
But if you guys have any questions that are watching live, then type them up too, and we will prioritize them. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Okay.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. So the first question is from Katie, and actually there were a couple of questions that kind of went together, I think. So first from Katie, what if people in a household have different ideas of what it means to be tidy? And should we read the next one now and just answer them together, or should we answer? This is very unscripted, if you can't tell. So.
Yeah, let's just answer this one first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this one kind of goes a little bit alone.
Okay.
So we had that. We definitely had that. So when we first got married 10 plus years ago now, because it's 10 years and 2 months.
2 months. Yeah.
So we had different ideas of what it meant to be tidy. I never really made my bed other than when I had company over. And Binni religiously made it like 7 times a day. Not really, but every day without fail. So that was like one thing that we just had to kind of align on. And I was like, sure, if you want to make it, you can make it. I don't care. But now, like, I can't stand not having my bed made either. Yeah. So, I mean, people usually have different levels of organization.
I'd be surprised if everybody, if you had a couple, let us know if that's the case in your case. If both individuals are on the exact same level on all different, like in all different areas of the house. I think you usually end up having different expectations, depending on which area of the home you're talking about. And I would say, because I think by default, it's easy to like for this to be a source of contention, right? So I think if I was to boil it down to an answer, and we haven't practiced this, by the way. We just like glanced over the questions and grouped them together. So this is not scripted. So if the answers takes a while to get there, then bear with us. But I would say, okay, now here comes the answer. I would say the key here is to be proactive rather than reactive about it. So being reactive is like, okay, you notice that somebody didn't make the bed, or there's a bunch of plates, dirty plates or cups in the sink, and then if you're reactive about it, you go and like bite your significant other's head off, which is not probably the best way of doing it. I think a good way of doing it is recognizing it when you're just like chilling. You're watching Netflix or something. You're taking time for yourselves, and then recognizing, hey, you know what, like could we have this conversation now? Like, hey, I've noticed that with the bed or with the dishes, that maybe we can align on that. So that's a long short answer. Yeah, and along with that long short answer is also find somewhere, like bring it up, like you said, and find somewhere where you can meet halfway, but be aware that the other person
is not right and you're not right. Like there's not a right and a wrong here. There's just we have to find our way of doing it in our home. So give a little and give a little.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure that you are okay with things not being perfect and that you're okay with doing something for your partner. Like even if it doesn't mean that much to you, then you do it because it means so much to them and you love them.
Exactly.
Hopefully.
We did a video on how to like get your spouse on board with housework. You can check that out on our channel afterwards. I think we've spent way too long on the very first question, so we're just getting started, and then we'll ramp up and then plow through these and have fun along the way.
I like the next one.
All right,
it's from Julie, and she says, keeping the one room tidy where you just unload stuff, or keeping anything tidy where other people in the house unload everything. So I like this question. It's kind of the same. It kind of goes hand in hand with that. But the unloading zone is a major thing. Like, because people come in and our kitchen used to be the unloading zone. So we come there, like I like empty out my work bag, and the kids would put their school bags down and their lunch bags out, and it's like there's always this unloading zone, which I hated because our counters got completely covered. And that's that aisle thing, the kitchen aisle. If you have that, we don't. But if you have that, it invites clutter for unloading. So it's finding out, okay, how do I keep this area clear? I need to have a plan for where to unload and where not to unload.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, like having like unloading baskets. So like unloading here for the kids, maybe if they can't really figure out a system, and then you can't go to bed until that is taken up and put away the right place. Yeah.
So we try. I mean, but it is. Like you have to get to a point where you get it cleared, and then you have to have something to maintain it. And we do this with the kitchen counters. We've got a place that would just like a basket type deal hanging up in our kitchen, where we put any papers that are kind of like that either need to address or that we're just throwing out, and then we take them out to the recycling bin.
Yeah.
But that they don't end up on the counters, and we usually take a few minutes, like at the end of each day. Like it's it's a 2-minute job to just go over the counters and make sure that they're clear, because we both agree that that's really nice in the mornings to wake up and have clear kitchen counters.
That's actually another question that's like a little bit later, is how to keep the counters clear. And that is, like we said already, like have somewhere to put the things, like the paper clutter that you otherwise would usually keep on there. Like decide where to put that, and especially if there's something you need to react to, like letters or bills or whatever, then have a system for where to put those until they've been reacted to. Yeah. And agree on it. So the woman doesn't throw away a bill that hadn't been paid.
Yeah, you don't want that. That'd be bad.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to a fun one?
Yeah, let's do a fun one. This one.
Yeah. Shira, thanks.
This is from you, Shira. Suppose you're bald and still want to color your hair or scalp. Which color would you pick and why? Binni. Suppose you were to go bald.
I've first of all never colored my hair.
I have.
Yeah. So if I was to go bald, I would color it the color of my scalp, so as to look like I didn't color it at all. Does that count?
No.
No. Sorry,
I will. I've thought about this. Okay, shush.
That's why we have you.
I thought first black, because then it would look like I actually had hair still. But I was like, but it would still look fake, even if I did it black. So why don't I just embrace the weirdness of it and go with my favorite color, pink? So I would definitely just color my scalp pink, and then the hair that was still left on here, pink all the way.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, well.
You would be exciting to look at every day.
Thanks. I already am, Binni. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for that question.
That was one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Moving on. Okay. So Lauren also asked us, I'd love to know how much time I should expect to spend every day/week to have a clean house, or what the average is.
What the average is. That's an interesting question. I think that depends very much on the size of your house, the number of kids, and overall rowdiness of those kids in your household. Hey, weird Irish girl. And what else? And just like who does, like how do you split up the chores? How do you split up the tasks?
And how immaculate you want your house to look.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How about us? What do we do?
Well, I've tried a lot of different systems to do this. And like,
so have I.
Yes. Sorry. I was stayed home for 5 years while he was at work, and I tried to do most of the cleaning while he was gone so that we could have quality time when he got home. So that's why I say we do clean together now. But now that I'm back at work. But I've tried a lot of different systems with like having, well, every Monday I do this, every Tuesday I do this, every Wednesday I do this, and had like a schedule like that. I've tried having like a cleaning day a week where I do everything in 1 week, in one day, and then just maintain the rest of the week. Right now we're doing 2 mornings a week where we do it the whole family, and then a little bit more on Saturday. I think on average for us, we spend what, 2 hours cleaning a week?
I think that's accurate. Yeah. Split between us.
Yeah, split between everyone.
Yeah. So most recently we tried doing this thing that kind of works where we do 2 mornings a week, just do half an hour before like we actually like get up and get ready for school and work and whatnot. Bring the kids on board and they help. And that I think has worked pretty well. Like, but that said, it's not like we keep to that religiously, and there are weeks where we skip it all together, and then we're just kind of catching up on Saturdays. I would say that the key from my point of view is not to stick to the schedule. Like having a schedule, having a routine for me works with a lot of things. Maybe we just haven't found the right routine, but while we're in the process of finding the right routine, what we do is we try to make it as easy as possible to just clean on more of an ad hoc basis. Yeah, that makes sense. So we keep the cleaning supplies and vacuum cleaner and whatnot accessible. And then, I mean, just before this live, we actually didn't pick up and vacuum on. When was that? This morning. Thursday. I guess we're
supposed to do it this morning.
We didn't. So I just did like a quick vacuum of the floors and the ground floor and in here, and that took 20 minutes. Took a little bit longer because I had to clean out the vacuum cleaner. That doesn't happen every time, but yeah, we try to make it easy on ourselves, and it kind of changes the way that we clean. So it's more just like it only take a minute, and we do that like on the go.
Yeah, but I mean there's this what's it called, the Parkinson's law. Yeah, I discovered this not too long ago that it was a thing. I mean, I've been using it, but I didn't know it was a thing. So Parkinson's law says that the time you'll spend the time that you have on a given task. So if you have an hour to spend, you'll spend an hour. If you have like a whole day to spend, you'll spend the whole day on that task. So if you sign said, okay, I'm only going to spend 30 minutes to clean now, and I'm just going to go at it, then you will be surprised at how much you can actually do in those 30 minutes. Because if that's what you have, then that's what you need to get everything done, and you are more productive. Yeah. So we're also big fans of timers for that reason.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just a quick reminder, if you've just joined us, we're going through our list of questions. If you have any questions, please drop those in the comments. We'll try to prioritize those. But we're just going through our list right now. And I think it's time for the next question. Actually, on that note, Kayla asked us a question about what are some of the weekly cleaning schedules I can use. I think you mentioned a few of the ones that we've tried. I mean, we're not great cleaners. Like we try to keep a clean house. We follow the 80-20 rule. We're perfectly happy with, smudges on our TV lasting for more than a day because we've got a 1-year-old who's just started to walk and he'll,
touch it every second of
every day.
So
we're not going to stress out over that.
I love Shara's comment here. I'm most productive 30 minutes before husband and kids get home. Yes. I understand. I can remember that actually. Like, it's not that long ago. Like, I remember that 2 months ago when I was staying home. Like, 30 minutes before you would come home from work, I just go like, and then get like just everything looking spick and span.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe more like 10 minutes before.
Well, I mean, it was it always looked really nice when I came home. So, good, effective, efficient.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
More questions.
Yeah. Okay, here. Liz, she said, did you say you were a teacher? Is that to you or to me?
That's to you, I
Must be.
presume. Yeah.
Yes, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher by profession. I teach middle school, so like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, in math, English, and science. So physics and chemistry. So that's my profession.
Yep.
And you're an engineer. Not that anyone asked.
No.
but yeah.
But thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know everybody here would love to talk about. Oh, I think we just lost a person from the screen as soon as you said engineer. But anyways, I'm an engineer. I'll keep this short. I work with offshore winds as my full-time job. I actually think that on the topic of you being a teacher and me being an engineer, that actually works really well with us doing real organized. I think that like your way of getting knowledge across, I think you're very good at like connecting with people. And I'm good at like picking things apart and putting them together in a way that makes sense. So if you're watching a video and you're getting bored to death with like the systems of how things are working, then you know who to blame.
Exactly.
All right. Next question.
Next question. Okay. Dave asks us a question. He says, why do I suck at organizing things? That's a great question, Dave. Yeah. Why does he suck at organizing things?
I think, first of all, I don't think anybody really sucks at organizing things. I think you're like, everybody's got at least one area of their life that they like really, whether they recognize it or not, are just really good at like keeping track of.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you think about your hobbies, your interests, I think there's something there about, taking what works there and maybe applying it to other areas of your life. That said, organizing, I think, is a skill. You can use the muscle analogy. The more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've actually used the analogy before in one of our videos about like a highway country road. So if you're, and I like this because when I'm driving down somewhere that I haven't been before and it's dark and it's winter, like I can really imagine this, like paint this picture for you. It's winter, it's dark, it's like wind is going and you're driving. I'm sitting like this, like I'm like looking and I'm not enjoying the situation. But if it's somewhere I've gone like a million times, like dropping the kids off at school or something like that, like I'm just driving like really relaxed and like I know exactly where I'm going and I'm just going on routine. So same thing with organizing. Like if it's something you're used to doing, if it's something that's a system or routine for you, like brushing your teeth, you don't even think about what you're doing. You just do it. Like it's just routine. You do it every night. You don't have to like convince yourself every single night, oh, I'm gonna brush my teeth now. So that's organizing. It's easy if it's something that you've worked yourself into a habit or rhythm of doing. Yeah.
Absolutely. We got a couple of comments. Unnud, I love starting the day quickly, going through the house and getting as much tidied and cleaned as I can in like 30 minutes max. Yeah,
max.
I agree. I think even though we don't necessarily do it every single time we've got it in our schedule, we still do it a lot more frequently than we used to, and it is nice to get the day started off like that.
Exactly. So. And I'd love tips on how to get my spouse involved in cleaning. We did talk about that just before, but I would like to just revisit it since it was asked here.
Okay.
That like picking it, what we talked about before is like picking the right time to discuss it is not when you're in the heat of things, but when you're like sitting down, it's like, hey, honey, like it's kind of been bothering me a little bit, or like, could we maybe figure out some way to like get this here kept up a little bit easier together? I'm having a hard time doing it myself, or something like that, where you call on the other person's strengths as well.
Yeah, and you could say like, this is important to me because like if this area is cluttered or unclean or whatever, it stresses me out more than like like if there's clutter somewhere else in the house. So just to kind of like bring them into like why it's an issue for you, because I think a lot of the time people just don't like they hear you, but they don't like get into the feeling of like why are we having this conversation?
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a short answer. Go back once we've finished this and listen to the rest of.
Yeah, but I mean, we're going off the assumption your spouse loves you, so they will do a lot of things for you if they really understand and feel that it's important to you, not just hear that it's important to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
okay.
Right. More questions. Okay. Who does what with your YouTube channel?
Oh, well, I'm the star. I bring the pizzazz and I bring the humor. And he edits. So that's about it. What'd you say?
Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot of I didn't realize how much work there is like to put together videos for a YouTube channel. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of work that goes into, I mean, like coming up with the script, kind of the outline. Filming can be like quite like easy. We get through it in you know, an hour. I could do maybe a couple of videos, or a single video can take like 4 or 5 hours to film. We do that together. We kind of work on the lighting and setup.
I usually set it up and you help like make it perfect.
Yeah,
so.
to make myself feel important.
Okay, maybe I'm not the only star. Fine.
No, and then I mean, you do a lot of like the public relations work. So I comment as well. I answer your guys' comments if you comment on our videos, but I think we split that pretty evenly. You do a lot of like.
Sometimes we comment at the same time, both of us, and you get 2 comments, and we hurry up and delete one of them.
the better one.
Yeah, well, we don't delete the better one.
No, thank you. She's also here to correct me when I say stupid stuff. So.
Okay, so let's move on. We have a question here. It says, my 5-year-old wants to know how you learned to clean.
How did you learn how to clean?
That's a really good question. My mom would clean. I mean, my dad's great and he does so many things, but at our house, my mom was the one who cleaned everything. And I just kind of watched her, so I learned that way. She never really made me. I didn't have to do much of the cleaning. I did a lot of other stuff around the house. I did a lot of cooking and stuff, but I never really had to clean much until I moved away from home. But I knew how because I'd watched her. So yeah. Yeah,
I remember my mom distinctly teaching me how to do the laundry. I think we just moved into our house that where we lived in during my teenage years. I'm struggling to get my words out here. And she showed me how to work the washing machine. So I was about 12 then. I'm really proud of our son now, who's like,
he's 8 and he washes all the kids' clothes. Like we put all the kids' clothes in one laundry hamper, except if there's like a blowout from Lucas. But other than that, we put it all in there and he washes it and puts it in the dryer and brings it up, and his sister divides it into different child's piles, and then they fold and put away. Yeah, it's awesome.
We just did a video on laundry system comparison. So we basically took like a couple of months and we tried out like a week at a time a bunch of different laundry systems that we picked up from just like looking at what other people are doing on YouTube, and did a very thorough systematic thorough analysis. It's a fun video. You'll enjoy it. We put
it sounds boring. It's not. No, so it's check it out afterwards.
Yeah, so check that out. So this was cleaning. I know your son was asking about cleaning more than organizing. I've always been quite like organized. I haven't always been clean, but I've been quite organized. I always kept my room quite tidy when so I think I just learned that myself. It's just very innate.
But I mean, just because you liked it tidy and you were really good at keeping it when you were a kid. But I mean, growing up, having like living with your friends before we got married and like living with me and having kids, like that doesn't mean that automatically you just keep it tidy. It just means you like it tidy.
Yeah. And I think I mean, there was like a period of time in my adult years where I just kind of like, well, when I started living with not just myself or like in my room or having my mom as backup to like clean up. That I struggled a bit. And then actually that's kind of where like also the idea of the comfort zone kind of sprung from.
So keep talking about that, because Anya just asked like, how do you stay organized with unorganized roommates? You share a room or kitchen utensils and things like that.
I think some of it is this like having the slightly uncomfortable conversations, but you can do that in a more comfortable way. I think a lot of it is also just like having realistic expectations. I would start by deciding what can I reasonably keep clean and tidy myself without it impacting or being impacted too much by the other people that are are living with me.
Mhm.
And then kind of like expand gradually from there. I wouldn't expect to just like have a talk and like, hey, you know, this isn't working, and then for it to be fixed overnight. That's probably not gonna happen.
Exactly. Sorry, I couldn't help but laughing at that one. Like, how's one rock a pole like a boss? Like this.
Yeah, thanks.
Exactly. No, but Anya, I liked your question, and yeah, like have that uncomfortable conversation, but also just be an example, and make them aware of your example, I guess sometimes, because they'll pick up on things and they'll probably enjoy it a lot more, living in a nice, clean place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Did you guys have a system that worked when your kids were younger?
Yes. I mean, I think the systems that we see working now, like we put them into place. That sounds like super, but we started laying the foundation for those systems when the kids were young. So it is. I mean, now we sit with Lucas, who just turned 1, and we'll go through not just the motions of like emptying out the toy box and like playing with the toys, but actually like, you know, have him put the toys back and applaud. And, you know, he loves this. Like when he started walking, he would like stop. And then, you know, once he realized he'd taken a couple of steps, he'd like start applauding, and then we would, you know, and then it was a whole big thing. He loves that now. So every, you know, like he'll eat a food, and if you know him, he eats a lot. Like he'll eat something, he'd be like, you know, like, and so we just kind of play on that with like cleaning up as well.
Yeah, so he puts toy in toy box, we're like, yay! And then he'll do it a few times, but he's only 1, so I mean, he hasn't really caught on every time. He catches on like for small increments of time, and then we'll have to reteach him later.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, how old were our kids when they started really contributing? I mean, I think it's really hard to say like this is the time, because it's been different with each child, I feel.
And in different areas. It's not like, you know, Marcus is better at everything, or Emily is better at everything. But I would say, I mean, I would say, you know, when they're in some ways, like when they're 2-3 years old, like I would like with picking up their toys. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, they might see it as a game and then empty it out right away afterwards. But I think that even that is a step in the whole process.
I mean, we always try to keep it as like you get one type of toy at a time. So you get this toy out, and then we have to pick it up before you can get another one. Mm-hmm. And maybe they wouldn't understand it right away, but we kept to it, and then they got it pretty quickly. I mean, pretty quickly saying, I don't know how old they were. We lived in Texas still. Emilia was, how old was she when we moved away?
She's like
2? No,
not
1.
Even like 1.
She was 1. So like, and we did it there. Mark was definitely understood there, and she was picking up on it there. So yeah. So sticking to your guns, and then they'll pick up on it eventually. Yeah. And
set the example. I think that's also, you know, I know you mentioned it, but it's really hard to expect them to do something if you don't like take the lead on it and stick to it. And it does take effort, but it definitely pays off.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to a question here.
All right.
Any ideas for how I can simplify my work life at home? So any simple daily tricks I need to know? We kind of touched a little bit upon this with the cleaning. We really like to we call it lowering our barriers. But I don't know if that's just a fancy way. This is just our talk that we've kind of called it that. Yeah. But we like to just make it as easy for us as possible to do it, or as hard for us as possible not to do it. So if that means when you come in from work and you're super tired, like put something right there so it's easy just to pick up and do. So we keep our clean supplies for the bathroom right there in the bathroom. So when we see there's something, then we can just grab it quickly. We don't have to go downstairs to get the clean supplies or get the cloths or get the newspaper we use to wipe with. I mean, so we have everything centered the places that we need to use it. Anything else? Like what else do we do?
So if you think about like if you've got a bowl of candy on your desk while you're at work versus having a bowl of candy like on the other side of your office, how much more likely you are to, you know, to eat candy if it's like right there next to you. And it's the same thing with like how you set up your home to make it easy for yourself to clean and to do the things that, you know, you want to do
anyways.
Yeah.
So like I had a friend who we talked about this, and like there were always so many crumbs in the living room table or table on the floor after dinner. So instead of having to go all the way 2 rooms down to get the vacuum, even though it's so close, it still was too far. So I just kept like a dustpan like right there next to the dining room table in like a cupboard. They just got that out, and so they could just sweep it up really quick, and then they could vacuum later. But just like realizing what it is that's bothering you and figure out small like hacks or tweaks that you can do to make it as easy as possible for you to do them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anya asked, have you guys always been this organized, or how did it all start? We touched on it already. Yeah. Okay, let's do a crazier one.
Crazy one.
Yeah.
Okay. Most likely to get arrested. You ready? We'll point. You ready? 1, 2, 3, and then we'll point. 1, 2, 3, go.
Spoiled it. Wait, why do you think I'm more likely to get arrested?
You'll get a speeding ticket, and then you get pulled over, and you'll be in a mood because you got a speeding ticket, and then you'll say something.
Okay, I wasn't going to take that as far as that, but I actually did think that I'd be more likely to get arrested because of speeding tickets. Like I would just speed. I'm not like, okay, this all comes from a family trip we took to France in 2016 to watch football or soccer. Iceland was playing. It was a big deal. And I mean, so we'd asked someone who was, supposedly knew how strict the cops in France were about like, going just a little bit above the speed limit. They gave us an answer. We kind of went off of that. That turned out to be not as true as we had hoped. So I came back with and found 5 envelopes in our
mailbox.
But I mean, I've only been pulled over once for speeding.
I've never pulled over for speeding.
That was in the States. I had to do a defensive driving class. That was horrible.
Yeah.
That was not worth it. I'd rather just take like points to my license or whatever.
Don't speed, kids.
We're a good influence.
Don't speed.
Don't. Okay, do I have another question?
No,
Corinna, she was asking about the Northern Lights. And when and where was the best place to see the Northern Lights?
I've only seen them in Iceland, so I'd say Iceland, because that's the only place I've really seen them.
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, I grew up with the Northern Lights. I mean, being able to see them even from our backyards in Iceland. This is in like the southwestern part of the country, close to the capital. So, I mean,
I know you can see them in Alaska too, and other places in the world. But from my personal experience, I'd say like October, November, or February in Iceland on a clear day. From
like a physics point of view, those are the best times. But usually you can see them all throughout the winter. If and yes, it's kind of hit and miss. Obviously, you have to have clear skies. But if you're, I mean, in Iceland, you could see them even if you're in the city. Obviously, it's also best to go outside of the city to get rid of the light pollution, and then you'll have a pretty decent chance of seeing them.
Yes.
Check them out.
So
they're beautiful. They are absolutely amazing. Like,
you were there the first time I saw it. We were dating. It was so nice. We were walking downtown at Reykjavik, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, look!" And I look up and I'm like, "Oh." Jaw drop, and I'm like holding his hand as I'm like walking into traffic and stuff. Yeah, just because I could look down. Yeah. So it was amazing. Yeah, everyone should see Northern Lights in their lives.
I agree.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah. Awesome. Best practical joke you've ever pulled on each other? I didn't read this beforehand. I don't know. I never pull practical jokes.
I'm trying to remember. Like we've gone through like phases where we like scare each other. Like when we lived in.
We mostly scared our neighbor. That was funny.
Yeah, it's really fun being neighbors. And actually, on that note, the house next to us is
for sale.
So
who wants to be our neighbor?
Who wants to be scared?
No. Okay. I don't know. I can't think of a practical joke I pulled on you. I mean, I know we did a ton, but I just can't think of one right now. Sorry.
That's boring. Okay, so Mate is asking, at my old job, everyone placed the community candy by my desk. Oh, he's not asking. He's just stating what happened. Mm-hmm. A few pounds would confirm that what you have said is true. Thank you for your validation.
Yeah, exactly. So, also, sorry. That was really, yeah, exactly. Let's move on. I didn't dismiss that comment. Thanks for it. We like validation. But on to the next question. Kayla, do you have any ideas for newborn nursery organization? Well, we just had a newborn a year ago. It feels like just. He turned a year yesterday. But we were really limited by space this time around because we're still in our townhouse, and he is in our room with us, and he still is. And so we knew we had to really think a lot about the organization we put into here. So we measured out everything and got a dresser. Actually here, folding the clothes in a certain way really helped us be able to fit a lot of stuff into very little space there.
Yeah.
And then rotating on it. So we had all the clothes divided into months. So like 0 to 3 months, and 3 to 6 months, and 6 to 9 months, and so forth. You get it? And then just like had it in the basement and then rotated it up when he was about to grow out of one thing. So it's quite easy to just like, oh, one new bag up, next bag down, and wash this, and then we're ready to put it into the dresser. And it all kind of fit every time because it was about the same amount of clothes.
Yeah. And I think so we've got the one dresser, we've got a changing table, we've got the crib, which will turn into like a baby bed.
Day bed.
Day bed. There's
called.
a word for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I mean, we've got a couple of boxes of toys. If you're on our Facebook page, then you saw we did a quick analysis on the toys that he was using the other day. Realized that, a lot of them are just clutter, to be honest. So, basically, like, we can make do with very little. We'll go through those boxes now.
In the next couple of
weeks, like
after his birthday, birthday party.
Yeah, then and make some room for the toys that he actually uses. We are very much about like the functionality of things. Like so Steve Jobs had a quote that goes something like, it's not about like, or design's not about how, just how it looks and feels, but how it works. And you could say the same about, organization, or in this case, nursery organization. For us, it's yes, we want it to look nice, but it also has to work nice. And if it's overflowing with toys or clothes or what have you, like, you might think that's, like, this is what I want to do to be a good parent. And I'm not going to say that, that's not true for you, but for us, it's basically, less is more in our situation.
Yeah, definitely. Quality over quantity.
Yep. Yeah. If you like this, by the way, if you're still here, you're following us, thanks for your questions. Please give us a like, give us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up for the video.
and then we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah, let's do this one here. This one.
Yep.
Okay, what does it say? It says
morality
question. Oh man. If someone calls for an ambulance because they're seriously injured, but then the ambulance hits another car en route, should the ambulance stop to help or keep going?
That's a horrible question. Yeah, what should the ambulance do, Kristine?
Well, someone's really injured, like seriously injured, and they hit someone. They should stop. They should stop. I mean, yeah, I think it probably is in their doctors. They're not doctors, some ambulance drivers. But I mean, I'm pretty sure it's an oath somewhere that you should help. And if they're the first people on the scene there, they should help. They should stop and help. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure they have a protocol for this. This is like a just stupid, boring answer. Like,
I know an ambulance driver. We should call her when this is over and find out what the protocol is. Yeah. Just crazy stories. I'm sure this has happened to her probably.
I'm sure if it's like, super critical condition, they'd have some idea of what they're going to, and they'd probably make a snap judgment based on what they saw on the scene.
Yeah.
To help the one that's in the biggest need. That's a cop-out. Okay, let's
move on. Sorry. Okay.
How do you organize your dishwasher? And do you agree with each other on how it should be loaded?
Okay, so I learned to organize the dishwasher from my dad. I know I said earlier that he didn't do much cleaning, but that's, I guess, not true, because he taught me how to organize a dishwasher. And actually, before I met you, a guy I was dating before I met you.
This is ugly turn.
Yeah, he came over for dinner. I made something, and he commented like, "Wow, you're so good at packing a dishwasher." He told me that. He's like, "That's so impressive." He was very much into the environment and stuff. He's like, "That is so good, like for the environment, how you just pack it really nicely and don't waste space." So you didn't know that about me. That's new.
That is
So
that is new.
I've
After
been
10 years,
complimented.
10 years of marriage. There, you guys are unearthing new knowledge for me about my wife. Thank you.
So, but that doesn't answer the question. It's just a good question. That's just a good comment about how awesome I am.
All right.
Okay, so how do you organize?
I would say that we are very much on the same page with regards to how we like pack the dishwasher. I think we're both quite good at it. If we, you know, if we see some like rearranging that can be done and we can optimize, like basically if we can absolutely minimize the stuff that we have to do, because we have a sacred oath to like do the dishes before going to bed.
You can't leave any dishes undone before going to bed.
So obviously that's a great motivator to, you know, to be very efficient in how we pack the dishwasher. I'll routinely like try to rearrange things and probably spend more time on that than
needed. Yeah. Now, I have a rule, like you can't put spoons in with other spoons in the utensil holder, because if they just kind of like go up against each other, like, you know, like this, and then they don't get clean. So that's my only, like, you cannot do this, Binni.
I think what I've noticed is like if you start putting the cereal bowls in the top rack, like I usually like putting them in the bottom rack. I won't change it if there's more than like 2 or 3 bowls there, and because I don't think it makes that much of a difference, and it really only benefits us if you have like a big bowl or a pot or something that you can put over the bowls in the bottom rack. It's a lot of thinking that's gone into this.
Yeah, I think yes, we agree, and yeah, we do it in a certain way. Next question. Okay, Alex, what did you say?
All right, cleaning around a 2-year-old who wants to be at my heels every second.
Yeah, Alex is probably a woman here. Well, I don't know, actually, it could be a man. But yes, cleaning around 2-year-old, like what do you do? Because they just kind of follow you around. I know this is a problem for a lot of people. And like when I get home from work now, Lucas is just like right behind me all the time. And he really wants me to hold him or else he'll be crying. So I'll hold him. And sometimes I need to get stuff done. And then I do it with one hand because I've missed him all day. So that's important. But I still get stuff done. When they're a little bit older than Lucas, so a 2-year-old, I'd say give him a cloth. Like give him a cloth or something and have them help you with it. It will take longer, yes, but one of 2 things is probably going to happen. Either they'll learn and that'll be great in the long run, or they'll get bored and they will leave. And then you get to finish on your own.
Yeah, as long as you just make sure that they're still safe, you know. Like,
yeah, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Okay, good.
I mean, that's my fast answer to that question.
Yeah. I think it's a good answer.
Nice.
Start them young.
Start them as young as you can.
Yeah.
And then be okay with not finishing your task, but be happy that you actually did it with your child.
Favorite pizza toppings?
Ooh, meat.
Meat. Yeah, I like meat.
I like pepperoni, bacon, and pepper cheese. That's like those 3.
We have a place in Iceland.
Yeah. If you're in Iceland, go to Pizza on Pizza and get that combination right there. It's good.
Pepperoni and pepper cheese and bacon.
And bacon.
For good measure.
Was that your answer too?
Yeah, that actually was my answer. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
10 years of marriage, guys.
On the same page. Okay. How do you keep your socks from going missing in the laundry?
Oh, we used to have a bigger issue with this.
Traumatic.
Seriously, when we lived in Iceland, our socks would go missing all the time in the laundry there.
Yeah. But
they don't so much anymore.
I've heard it's a thing. It's like an epidemic that resurfaces every few years in Iceland.
Okay, yeah. I've heard a lot of different ways to do it. Like you take those like bra packs, I guess, like you put them in there and then you zip it up and then you can wash that there. You can put all your socks in there and then wash them in there like a washing bag. That's one way of keeping them all together. Some people like put bobby pins in them. It's called bobby pins? No, it's called like safety pins. Oh, safety pinning your socks together and then washing them. To me, that just seems like a lot of work to do. I think a lot of the time they get stuck like in the washer. So you just kind of open, like when you open the washer, then right there's like a little rubber seal. If you bend that over, there are like a lot of stuff in there. A lot of time I think you get stuck in there.
Open that, you'll find like 1,600 socks in there.
We had a machine once where I did that after a while. I didn't know you could do that. And then I found a lot of money.
Hey, so definitely do that. Because if you don't find your socks, you'll find money to buy socks.
No, like I think we really just, we don't have that issue anymore. And I have no idea why it's not an issue now. And it was earlier. But we just don't lose socks anymore.
No. All right. Next question, and by the way, ask your questions if you have any questions. We're also answering, if you've just joined us, we're also answering organizational questions, not just like funny sock questions or what have you. Okay, so next one, actually a couple of questions that kind of go hand in hand. From Maria, my son's playroom. I have a hard time keeping it organized and trying to make it look like all the toys aren't just thrown in there.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old. And then Ashley asked actually about pantry organization, then toys with 2 kids. There are so many, how to store them and organize.
Yeah. So I think the biggest key there, and we actually also did a video on this, on organizing a small kids room.
Yeah.
How to organize a small kids room, I think it's called.
Yeah. So there's that video, and then we did another one where we kind of just did like a what's it called? Time lapse of the kids' room and how we've set it up and how it kind of functions and how we set it up to try to help the kids to have an easier time tidying up. Themselves. So definitely check those out.
Yeah. But my point was,
go ahead.
To make it as easy as possible for the kids to do it themselves. So little kids, they can't read yet, but they can read pictures. So we just have like those boxes, big cubicle boxes from IKEA a lot of the time. And they're just put like a picture of what goes in here. Here are dolls and up here are Dublos. So they can see the picture and know, well, this goes in here and this goes in here. Because even though they know, that doesn't mean they can quickly get to that as they have a toy in their hand and then it's just putting it anywhere. And same goes for friends when they have play dates over. Like if they can see where it goes, they'll help clean up. If they don't, then they won't.
Yeah.
So having like a picture on the cubicle box definitely made a huge difference for our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say, again, like one of the things that makes a difference for kids, like making it easier for them to tidy up. And I know, again, like with a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old, like it's not going to be like they, tidy up by themselves. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you still want to, like, they start picking up on habits pretty early. And I think, going through the process of decluttering, getting rid of stuff helps them appreciate the stuff that they hold on to, the stuff that you keep. Like going through the process of sitting down with them and kind of having them rank, like, this is my favorite, this is not as much my favorite, this is my least favorite, but still my favorite, and I love it. But maybe it's okay to then like give those away to
other kids that don't have a lot of toys. Yeah, that's what we usually tell.
Yeah, and it does make it. I mean, it's one of those things that, like, when it comes to organization, there's not like a one size fits all solution. But if there was, then it would include decluttering to begin with.
Yes, thank you for saying that, because that is so important. Yeah, and your kids. I mean, we at least saw from our kids that when we decluttered their room, and left the toys they actually liked and got rid of a lot of those like McDonald's toys and all those things that they love, but they don't care if they're not there. Like they started playing in their room more and they're a lot happier being in their room just because it wasn't as cluttered for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, if you want some help with actually getting your kids' room or the playroom organized, we are doing like free coaching calls. So 30-minute coaching calls where we just kind of like focus on what it is that you want help with. We can have a look at your room and give you more specific suggestions. Yeah. We put a link down below so you can click that and schedule a time. Next question.
Yeah, there's one here from Ashley's Little Nook on YouTube. It says, how do you make yourself clean up in the evening when you are tired? I love how she's just like, your parents equals you're tired. Yes, we are. So in the evening when we're tired, how do we make ourselves clean? Because we've decided that we're not going to bed without the dishes all being done.
Yeah, and the living room
tidied up and things. So I think the biggest thing here is not to push it until we are ready to turn off the TV and walk upstairs and then just like kind of clean up on the way up. But it's more getting it done as soon as it becomes a problem. So after dinner, we make sure that everything is cleared off the table and the dishes are done before dinner is done. And because that can be a big ordeal and we have little kids that need to get like bathed and to bed, we go even further back and say, well, before we actually sit down and have dinner, we make sure the kitchen is already clean and like we clean up as we go and we dish up in the kitchen so we don't have a pot that even needs to be cleaned after. So really, when dinner is done, all we have to clean are the dishes that we use to eat. Yeah. So we get that done out of the way. And then the kitchen is basically done before the kids are even in bed.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I thought was interesting was like we went through a phase where we were pretty religious about like turning off the TV, and we're still pretty good at turning off like electronics around like 9:30 in the evenings. Just having that like agreeing on like this is what we do in the evenings, it makes it so that during that hour of basically winding down in the evening, like it's a lot easier. You don't have that same temptation because you've agreed like, hey, we're not going to watch more TV. Then it's a lot easier to go and like pack the lunches and clean up and just tidy up and yeah, to your point, it's a little bit at that point, it's a little bit of like tidying up that you need to do. Sometimes it does suck. Sometimes it's you have an evening where it's just like I really don't feel like this. And I would say maybe like once a month or something, like we'll just be like, like we'll just do it in the morning. And I think once twice a month. But even then it's like we don't let it get out of control, because I think once it gets to be a bigger problem, then it's not just like the extra amount of stuff that you have to clean, but I think it has like a psychological effect on you that you look at it and it is a bigger issue, and then you make it an even bigger issue in your head. And that can be difficult to overcome.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's something in there that
made sense.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ashley.
Yeah.
Let's move on down to, we're getting closer to the end. Is that the last question?
We've got a couple here, and then one more
one here.
in the comments. Actually, same for grown. Or yeah,
No,
that's a comment. A comment in the comments. Same for grown-ups. We also enjoy our space more when it is less cluttered and nicely organized. Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Ashley. Hit us up with any more. This is a quick one here.
It's a quick one. Let's see what you did there.
If it's called quicksand, why do its victims sink so slowly?
Because they sink more quickly than if it was normal sand.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Was it really?
Not at all, but
Okay.
I like it. Let's stick with that.
So just like we've gotten that out of the way. We've answered that question. So you never have to worry about it or wonder about it ever again. You're
Exactly.
welcome. Okay, last
Go
question
here.
from Shira.
What chores are you excited to pass down to your kids when they're finally old enough? I.e. mowing the lawn, babysitting, balancing a checkbook, etc. I don't think I'll ever let my kids balance my checkbook. Because we use our Google Home to make shopping lists, and they just figured out how to emulate my voice on that one. So they'll be adding like just this week they added like, ooh, hey, add a tablet to shopping list and chocolate. So I went shopping and I looked at the list, and there was like so much candy and chocolate on this list, and iPads, and I don't even know what was on this list. So they will never be balancing my checkbook.
No.
Yeah.
No. Is it bad to think that like all the chores that are like my least favorite chores that I immediately think of those in terms of like, oh, what can I hand over to my kids? That's horrible. Yeah, but that's me.
What would that be? What would that be?
No, I mean I'm definitely not a fan of doing the dishes. I think that's one of my least favorite. Yeah. Fortunately, that we don't usually have to wash a lot of dishes on a daily basis, but I would definitely have the kids do some of that. Yeah,
emptying and loading in the dishwasher for sure. I mean, they're getting there. They're helping us with that a lot.
Mowing the lawn, like I don't really mind mowing the lawn too much. No. We don't really have green fingers, but I think it's a good time to reflect. You go out, put some music on, and mow the lawn.
I mean, Marcus is already doing the laundry for him and the kids. So I mean, they're already doing that. I think I'm excited for them to do the bathroom. Just kind of like the toilet and the sink. Oh, the bathroom floor.
So here where we live, like the water is extremely hard. It has a lot of like minerals in it. Denmark. And so you end up with like these calcium stains like everywhere. So we have to like wipe off the shower glass when we're done showering. The bathroom floor is just perpetually like it has like little spots, and it's like
it's a nice floor. It looks nice, but it's just we see it.
We should if we're planning on staying for a long time in this house, we should get one of those like decalcifier thingies.
Let's talk about it another time, hon. It's really expensive.
It is quite expensive, but I think it'd be worth it.
Yeah. No, so
Cool.
yeah, clean the bathroom and my thing to pass off. Yours would be the dishes to pass off, yeah?
Matthias is asking what are our least favorite tasks, chores. Yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
answers that.
Yeah.
I mean, I clean out the drains.
That's his task.
So shower, and
Would you
and
pass
sink.
that on to your kids?
But I don't think I'd do that. No, I'm not that malicious.
Yeah.
No, I'll keep doing that for years to come. It is my sacred responsibility as a
Husbandly
father
duty.
and a husband. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's it,
Cool.
guys. We answered all of your questions. If you have any others, now's the time. If not, then we'll keep talking for another like 30 seconds and then we'll like say bye.
If you liked this, if you thought, is this something we should do again? I mean, this is, let's be honest, it's a bit of an experiment.
Yeah, it took like an hour instead of our usual like less time.
Our usual less time. Yeah. No, we thought it was fun. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
So let us know in the comments if you think we should do this again. If you have any specific suggestions for types of lives we could do, also, we'd love to hear those. Yeah, give us a like, subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah.
We'd
Seriously,
love
guys.
to have you be part of our community. Check out our website, realorganized.net. And at that, I think we will wrap up. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
End stream.
Almost.
End stream.